into our third panel discussion, which is From Global Trends to Local Implementations, AI in Pakistan's HR ecosystem. I'd like to invite the moderator, which is Shazia Shahbaz, Chief People Officer for ICS Group of Companies, and our panel members, Hira Farid, who is a C-suite HR leader in talent management and an expert in people and culture, Sana Mesia, who is a EVP, Head of Human Resources at Meezan Investments, Bilal Khan, CIO for Shan Foods, and Umair Saeed, who's also a very dear friend of mine, the COO for Blitz Advertising.
All right, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Saad ने हमारी ज़िंदगी थोड़ी सी मुश्किल की है मेरी ख़ास तौर से because I think it was a wonderful presentation and the discussion we had from him was really on ground, very practical. Thank you. So, and I would also be thanking Umar for initiating this discussion. Reason behind because जब से ये शुरू हुआ कि हमने ये event करना है AI पर and AI HR versus AI or AI versus HR, so I think our minds started boggling on कि जी है क्या और हमारे घरों में भी in the morning Mario was discussing that how we started this discussion. So before getting into the topic, I think आपसे एक सवाल करूँगी That's it कि जब हम बात कर रहे थे ना कि आमतौर पे हमारा जो ग्राउंड लेवल होता है जैसे पेंडेमिक की हमने बात की कि कोविड जब आया तो like we were compelled to get into so much things those were not we were very much familiar before that. So एक जो यहाँ पे लोकल एप्लीकेशंस आई थी जिसमें एक फूड पांडा हुआ करता था जो भी ठीक है आहिस्ता आहिस्ता करके काफ़ी इवॉल्व हुआ इस तरह की बहुत सारी चीज़ें आई.
Normal service contract as you do in offices. So that's a food supplier contract, nothing more than that. So if you have asked this, so I'll start off जो कालिया साहब ने बात की. So it was there for a very long time. He said 50 years, it might be more than that. हमारा discussion हो रहा था तो I just identified कि how many people wear a smartwatch here. So almost 50%. So have you ever realized that when you start walking, it identifies that you are walking. When you are running, it identifies you are running. So that is the first practical example of AI in our life. That it will automatically detect, it will automatically calculate that how many steps you have taken. So it starts from there. But we are here for corporate applications, so we'll move further to that as well. So आपका AI नहीं है और अभी टाइम लगेगा उसमें.
मैंने कि पूछ लूँ क्योंकि बहुत दफ़ा हमारी जो ग्राउंड लेवल पे डिस्कशन होते हैं तो हम समझ रहे होते हैं कि जितने भी टूल्स हम यूज़ कर रहे हैं वो शायद AI हैं. तो ये सुबह से जो डिस्कशन हमने सुना है that was really I mean I would say like thought provoking and we could get to know a lot of application and a lot of trends that are coming. So since morning we are discussing what kind of challenges are there and abhi jo साथ की presentation थी that also could give us how much about the like how future would look like. So having this distinguished panel, I think I would like to bring a question up to you that in Pakistan's ecosystem, and especially in HR, how far we think that out on the scale of 1 to 10 we have come, and I can start to hear from you.
So thank you so much, Shazia, for having us here. I think it's extreme pleasure to be a part of this amazing panel. On a scale of 1 to 10, I would quickly respond to your question by saying I feel that AI is here to stay, and my response to that would be somewhere like a 7, because that's again for two reasons I'll explain. I've been like in HR for the last a decade and a half and more, and there are times when my team is turning around a few projects and they're responding very quickly. I literally have to go back and check who is it behind that, and they still keep on claiming it's us, it's not ChatGPT and this and that. So, it's ingrained, it's immersed, but again, how you use it, how, what kind of prompts are you trying to sort of feed in there is exactly what I think drives on how the result or the outcome of that, exercise is going to be. And, even for organizations where, I've worked, I'm serving, I've sort of highly implemented all the AI practices, tools like, top grading for recruitment. We've been using a Slack bot. So the Slack, communication platform and the Fishbowl, which is basically a, sort of communication discussion app. We've been using that extensively. It's free. We tried piloting it with a, sort of version where, we were able to leverage on all these, AI-based, communications and platforms, and it's been doing wonders. But again, having the right intellectual acumen to really understand what you need to feed in and how you need to feed in so that you can get the desired results is something which, of course, we are yet to sort of, gain finesse on, gain some sophistication on. And I see it's obviously, immersing itself around the industry very, very rapidly.
Okay, thank you so much. So if I ask you, as per your experiences, you got mashallah for a long time in HR. So what do you think that out of a scale of 1 to 10, where would you rate that? How far, as in corporate sector, we have come ahead?
7, like I said.
Okay.
And, again, maybe just adding another, comment here. I very strongly believe Facebooks and YouTubes and, LinkedIn as well for that matter. These were platforms which basically had a very high adoption rate, not based on, how the corporate sector really embraced them, right? So it's not really the corporate sector which is going to drive these or maybe, define how AI is going to be well spread within an industry. It's basically a social change, right? Based on which, or as a result of which, these platforms also became extremely, well accepted, and they were forced to be adopted by the corporates, right? So I think it's the other way around. I would sort of beg to differ a bit that it's not really about how corporate would define AI is going to sort of be in there. We've just seen about hearing and seeing, and I would, really, get impressed with how Saad had put that together, right? That, AI can even tell you that, what is in your refrigerator, what kind of stuff you can cook in out of that. So it's well spread across, but obviously the corporates usually take some time to adopt it based on the success rates. And that's how I see it too.
Thank you so much. I think, and I can relate to the first example that you shared, because I had some management training officers from, the business universities, and I knew that they have never worked before. And sometimes when I give them the assignment, so I mean, the kind of language or kind of, the document they come in, so I would definitely think, ye kahan se aaya hai? So then I would definitely check back, कि अच्छा ये किस तरह से हुआ है. So like the one answer is ChatGPT, जो कि सुबह से बात हो रही है. तो the thing is that the people like us, I think maybe the ones जो last में इस option पे आते हैं, but the generation we are right now coming in, the first tool is whatever is available, so they are there. And I can also quote one of my ex-fellow has recently joined an organization, and that is working in Pakistan, but that's something like, for example, in US, there's a supply chain organization. So what happens is if someone is coming to their office, they ring the bell there, and someone answers from here in Karachi. So that's also kind of a moderation in other part of the world. But bringing the same questions to you, I think first, Bilal, if you can answer, as per your experiences, how far we have come, and what is your experience in that?
So I would say that every single organization has their own curve to get into it. If you talk about me, if she says 7, I'll agree to that. Because I cannot ask, सबसे बड़ा problem यहाँ पे यही है जो मैंने पहले बात की थी कि AI is not only ChatGPT and these public things. अगर आप corporate की बात करते हैं, so then you have to आप एक यहाँ पे यूनिवर्सिटी स्टूडेंट्स भी हैं और आईटी के लीडर्स भी हैं और एचआर के लीडर्स भी हैं. So you start off, I go back to my school where everyone told us in the first class of IT that what is GIGO? Garbage in, garbage out. Whatever you feed to the computer will respond according to that. Generative AI is not for corporates. It is there as a tool, but yet again, you have to build a system on your infrastructure. If I have, जैसे वो बात हो रही थी पहले भी कि I can use the tools without any cost, so it's not like that because you don't want to share your internal data with the internet. So anybody can look up anything about the organization, including the salaries of the CEO to a peon working around the organization. So you need to develop your internal tool. First step, we have to take baby steps to implement AI. And we have already started doing that. So the first baby step would be to digitize, because that digitized data will be the feeder for your AI front end. So at the end of the day, if you are not digitized, अगर मैं ये सोचता हूँ कि मेरी किताबों के अंदर या फाइलों के अंदर या बॉक्सेस के अंदर जो डॉक्यूमेंट्स पड़े हुए हैं वो AI पे आ जाएंगे, तो जब तक आप उनको डिजिटाइज नहीं करेंगे वो नहीं आएंगे. It might give you generative answers from internet, but it will not be a decision support system. That is the future of AI in any organization. So we need to look into that. अब अगर आप शान फूड्स की बात करें तो अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह इन द पास्ट 3 years, पहले मैं एक सवाल पूछूं सबसे, IT क्या होता है? What is IT? What does IT stands for? Information what? So I beg to differ from that. It is not information technology anymore. It is information and transformation. We have segmented our IT into 3 areas. It is called DTA. D stands for data, T stands for transformation, and A stands for automation and analytics. So these are the 3 areas in any organization. If you excel in that, your service department of IT or HR will eventually become a आप एक facilitator बन जाएंगे decision support system के लिए सबके लिए. And yet again, if you take these things in Shan Foods, we have started 3 years back, starting with SAP. And after that, we realized that if we are if we work towards digitization, we are using RPA already. RPA is robotic process automation. एक छोटी सी एग्जांपल ये है कि पहले सेल्स क्लेम्स हर एक के आते हैं, जितने भी FMCGs हैं, सेल क्लेम आते हैं, उसके ऊपर 3 लोग बैठते थे, पूरे महीने के सेल क्लेम लगाते थे, 5 दिन लगते थे. तो दैट मीन्स 8 5s are 40 और 43s are 120 hours of work for just processing the claims. Now the RPA does that. It checks every single thing automatically, and eventually it posts the transaction into SAP. It opens up the SAP automatically, posts the transaction, makes a report, send it to sales department. So that kind of automation, it is still not AI. It is just RPA, but that is the baby step that we have to take. अभी जैसे मैंने जिक्र किया, अभी हम लोगों की सेल्स फोर्स है, एक बहुत बड़ी सेल्स फोर्स है across Pakistan and across globally we have 66 countries that we serve directly. So that's a big landscape to serve. So अब हमने क्या किया है कि हमारे पास जो ऑर्डर बुकर्स होते हैं, ऑर्डर बुकर एक सेल्स का सबसे लोएस्ट जिसको कहते हैं, जो जाता है दुकान पे और बोलता है यार हाँ भाई ऑर्डर दे दो, आज शान का क्या क्या माल चाहिए. So we pay for them, but at the end of the day, there comes the AI that we have already implemented. हम geofence कर दिया है distributions को. अगर ऑर्डर बुकर अगर घर बैठ के भी अपनी अटेंडेंस लगा देगा from a system, it will not matter to him, but it does matter. It's a lost work hour, it's a lost sale at the end of the day. मेरी top line direct impact हो रही है. So now, until and unless we have a geofencing for specific order bookers at specific distributions, जब तक वो distribution पे नहीं पहुँचेगा, वो वहाँ पे उसकी facial recognition करेगा, and then it will check the geofence accordingly, and then only he can mark the attendance. So that means the person has to go to distribution to mark his attendance, otherwise he will not be able to mark it. So there are multiple things coming up, and alhamdulillah जो बात हो रही थी कि ये टॉप डाउन अप्रोच होती है, तो बिल्कुल होती है. 2001 में मैंने एक कंपनी थी लोकल फार्मास्यूटिकल, वहाँ पे व्हेन आई वाज MIS इंचार्ज, उस ज़माने में MIS होता था, एक पुराना डिपार्टमेंट जिसको IT से पहले MIS कहते थे, फिर इंफॉर्मेशन सिस्टम्स हुआ, और फिर इंफॉर्मेशन सिस्टम्स हुआ, फिर IT हो गया. सो उधर हमने ईमेल सर्वर फर्स्ट टाइम 2000 में लगाया. तो द CEO called me one day and said कि मैंने इतनी इन्वेस्टमेंट की, कोई ईमेल ही नहीं करता. तो मैंने कहा जी ठीक है. उस वक्त वो बैठ के पेपर पे अप्रूवल साइन कर रहे थे. सो आई टोल्ड हिम कि सर स्टॉप यूजिंग दीज पेपर्स, send approvals or send emails to people. People will automatically start using it. कहते हैं चलें देखते हैं. And in 20 days, the whole organization was using emails because they knew that the big boss is going to send an email, send an invite to us for a meeting. उनका secretary सारी emails भेजता था. So that is the top-down approach and AI. So that means that we are moving forward. We are moving towards the right direction. And ये जब होता है जब results आते हैं. So that is, I think, मैं बहुत ज़्यादा हो गया, फिर भी आप please, thank you very
Really,
much.
thank you very much. In fact, Bilal, the first point we were having a discussion before, so I think the thing that actually was very much thought-provoking for me, when he said that AI is not, the AI is the little, you can say, the first step is to get digitized. पहला स्टेप जो होता है वो डिजिटाइजेशन होता है अपने स्टेप्स के, उसके बाद हम जो है आहिस्ता आहिस्ता सफ़र चल रहा होता है एआई की तरफ, वरना हमारे ज़हन में जब भी हम एआई का सोचते हैं तो हमारे ज़हन में होता है शायद पूरी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में रोबोट्स आ जाएंगे और वो काम शुरू कर देंगे, ऐसा नहीं होता. So, Asana, coming to you, you are heading HR for a larger segment, right? Meezan investment. So, as per your experiences, the same question to you there. What has been your experience? Because हमने सुबह से सुना कि तब्दीली तो आ चुकी है, right? It's almost there. So, how you say it, and on the scale of again 1 to 10, where would you reach? Because I'm asking from the different industries and different experiences, how we see it.
So as Hira and Bilal rightly put it up, because we all organizations have our different curves, right? We are from different industry lines, we have different products. We are ready, yet not fully ready. But on a scale of 1 to 10, I would say it's almost 6 to 7. The reason is there's no option. We don't have any choice. If we won't compete, if we won't embrace it, we will end up like Nokia. We'll end up like all those organizations which started off as pioneers but could not sustain the competition. ठीक है, अभी बिलाल ने बहुत अच्छी बात की स्मार्ट वॉच की. हम लंच पे भी बात कर रहे थे. आई वॉच कब आई थी? 13 साल पहले आई थी. और ऑगमेंटेड रियलिटी, अगर हमने नबीलास के पार्लर का सुना हो, हमने मेसीज सुना हो जो यूएस का लार्जेस्ट स्टोर है, हमने फिरोज 1888 आई वर्क देयर, उनके लार्जेस्ट एंड मोस्ट रिनाउंड कस्टमर्स हैं वॉलमार्ट एंड टारगेट, जहाँ पे हमारे टॉवल्स पाकिस्तान के टेरी टेक्सटाइल प्रोडक्ट्स जाते हैं. वो आज से 25 साल पहले RFID के टैग्स यूज़ कर चुके थे. क्या होते हैं ये? खाड़ी, सफ़ायर, सना, सफ़ीनाज. हम कोई प्रोडक्ट उठाते हैं, वी कैन डिजिटली सी के वो टैग जो है, कितनी प्रोडक्ट्स जो है वेयर हाउस में, कितनी इन्वेंट्री में है, कितनी कहाँ हैं. ये सब चीज़ें जो है ना, दिस इज़ ऑल इंटीग्रेटेड. This is all data, network, algorithms. And that's not a one department or one person's job. As शाहरुख ने पहले बात की, शकील ने बात की कि mandate जो है ना, leadership mandate is very important. And alhamdulillah, the industry which I belong to, Meezan is the one of the largest and the top tier AMC asset management company, more than 300 plus billion AUMs हैं. वो कैसे हुए हैं? वो इसीलिए हुए हैं कि ये एक बंदे का काम नहीं है. The human has the capacity to maximize with our intelligence and that artificial intelligence. And we know how to use it, we know how to capitalize it, but it will all start by starting from why. तो साइमन साइनेक की बुक थी स्टार्ट फ्रॉम वाई. ये जो क्या की बात शुरू होगी ना, उससे नुक्ते निकलते चले जाएंगे. डिजिटाइजेशन होती जाएगी, ऑटोमेशन होती जाएगी, ऑटोमेशन के बाद जो है डेटा सेंट्रिक इंटीग्रेशन होती जाएगी. इस साल ना सिर्फ ये कि हमारे यहाँ पे स्ट्रैटेजी, इनोवेशन, डिजिटल ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन की बुनियाद रही. वी हैव फॉर्मुलेटेड द डिपार्टमेंट, वी केप्ट अ बजट ऑफ मल्टीपल पोजिशंस, and we have started discussing, and alhamdulillah I've started working on robo advisory. Because if I am an investor, I have more than 19 products. I don't know what is it that you want to invest in. What is your interest? हम एक मोबाइल ख़रीदने जाते हैं तो मुझे, I'm an Android person, he may be an iPhone person. The technology is different, we are different buyers. ठीक है, तो वो कैपिटलाइज करने के लिए आई कांट जस्ट कॉल 24 आवर्स कि मुझे कौन सी प्रोडक्ट चाहिए. मुझे अपने सिस्टम्स में, अपने वेब पोर्टल्स में वो इन्फॉर्मेशन फीड करनी है दैट एनी पर्सन फ्रॉम एनीवेयर इन द वर्ल्ड इफ वांट टू नो दैट व्हाट इज द इन्वेस्टमेंट दैट आई एम लुकिंग फॉर, the robots can help me with the information that I have plugged in together with partnering with IT, Ops, HR, leadership, everybody. So where to start from? I think this is the time we have to go back to our organizations, whether it's global, whether it's multinational, whether it's local, whether it's small, to talk about it. Not to get afraid of it, to talk about it, और इसको accept कर लें, embrace कर लें. Okay, this is going to help us out. It's not going to replace our jobs, because we will control the methodology also. We will together partner with it. and I think time करीब है. हम तो इस चीज़ में अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह आ गए हैं और हम सभी आ जाएंगे.
Thank you very much, Sana. I think I'm coming to you at the last moment. मुझे पता है कि आपकी रेटिंग मैं सुनने में इंटरेस्टेड हूँ कि where would you rate it, like on the scale of 1 to 10? And one more thing, सना ने दो तीन बार रेफर किया कि like there are like 2-3 corners in an organization that can lead it. Like it's, and सुबह शाहरुख ने ये बात की थी कि it's not that only HR is look up to for leading it. As a custodian, maybe you can call that. So where would you see it on that scale, as well as how do you see कि जो where या why की बात है वो शुरू किधर से कर सकते हैं हम?
Acha, before I answer this question, let me break down what I believe readiness is about. Part of it is about willingness, and the other part is about preparedness. Okay? So we may be willing, but we are surely not prepared. We have made no effort in the infrastructure as a society, as an economy, to say that we are ready for HR and AI implementation in HR or industry at large. As a nation, we thrive on individual brilliance. So companies like Shan will shine out and perhaps end up implementing generative AI at at a level which is a global case study. But the vast majority of our surrounding is going to be not ready for any level of AI implementation. And it's a sad reality, but that's what I think. I think at max we are at a score of 2 perhaps. And I say that because we suffer from institutional gaps as well as gaps in capacity versus capability. So to me, just to give you how I came up with this understanding, to me, Gen AI or AI is one of the many steps or levels within the digitization process. So it's not separate from digitization, and that's perhaps the rest of the panelists in some way said the same thing, and that's also what the discussion in the previous presentation was about. Okay, once you have the infrastructure, then you take the leap into making decision-making systems, and then you make systems customized to your particular need as an organization or as a society. So हम तो बहुत पीछे हैं अभी. हमारे पास तो इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर वो कराची में सारी AI ड्रिवन सेल्फ ड्रिवन गाड़ियाँ होंगी. भाई सड़क तो होगी पहले, गटर तो बंद होगा, वो बेचारा कैसे पकड़ेगा? अलग कोड लिखना पड़ेगा पाकिस्तान के लिए कि इस स्पीड ब्रेकर पे से ये होंडा सिविक गुजर सकती है कि नहीं. अलग कैमरे लगाने पड़ेंगे, ट्रैफिक लाइट्स और जो आपकी VIP मूवमेंट्स हैं, and all of the social tiny nuances that form the city's vibe, they need to be coded from scratch. So हम पता नहीं किसी अलग दुनिया में शायद अपने आप को रख के सोचते हैं, especially जब हम ऑफिस आते हैं ना, वर्क प्लेस में, we want to believe that we are at par with every organization of our industry everywhere in the world. So I'm like a black sheep sitting here, and I'll tell you why, because I run an advertising agency. And we are supposed to be the custodians of commercial creativity. जो AI, Gen AI का actual claim है कि वो creativity में चला जाता है. So जिसकी job सबसे पहले affect होनी है वो designer है, जो posters और social media की posts बना रहा है आपके पास. सबसे पहले उसकी job affect होनी है, क्योंकि उससे पहले photographer की job affect हो चुकी है. But I'll tell you what, the future is already here in the world, but it's not evenly spread. It will take us time. हम हर टेक्नोलॉजी में 10-15 साल पीछे चल रहे हैं. Like I said, minus the exceptions. Individual brilliance होगा, एक दो exceptions होंगी, but overall we are very, very far behind. And if I give you an example from the telecom sector, for example, worldwide technology amps के phone याद हैं किसी को? Right? उसके बाद GSM आया था. पाकिस्तान में GSM आने के बाद CDMA आया था. अगर यहाँ टेक्नोलॉजी का कोई भी बंदा बैठा हुआ है तो उसे पता है कि CDMA, एम्प्स और GSM के बीच की एक टेक्नोलॉजी थी जो दुनिया में किसी और वक्त पे आई थी. बट बिकॉज हमारे पास एक वायरलेस लोकल लूप की सैटेलाइट थी यहाँ पे, तो गो CDMA जिंदाबाद. It was a primitive technology to GSM, and GSM was already here. So what we do at times as a nation is that we, without having the vision for the core fundamentals to be implemented, we try and implement a level above. So we have to nail the fundamentals first, do the basics right first, and get the basics of digitization in process. Abhi within our country, the traffic system in Pakistan is on a scale of 1 to 10, there is also a 0 and there's also a 10. Right? There are traffic cams in Lahore which can actually send a challan to your home. Right? And then there are no traffic cams in a metropolitan city like Karachi. So the disparity is huge. So before we move into anything major and start claiming that we are ready, we need to be ready to start doing the basics right first. So for me, in the corporate world, you will have the same bifurcation of scale. You'll have companies that are at par with their global industries, and they'd be doing the same. They'd be, running the marathon. Individual brilliance. वो एक बंदा खड़ा होके मैच जिता देता है. टीम की एफर्ट अपनी जगह, लेकिन वो एक बंदा एक्स्ट्रॉर्डिनरी कोई एफर्ट लगा के कुछ अचीव कर लेता है. तो एक कंपनी वो कर लेगी. But the vast majority of the industry is not ready right now. So we need to get the fundamentals right. When we get that right, yes, there are heaps and bounds of possibilities that we can explore. But until then, let's take a vow. Let's promise ourselves that we'll do justice to our responsibility as individuals and start doing right by our role right now. वो तो कर लें सही तरह. जो parallel systems हम चला रहे हैं, SAP implemented हुई भी companies के अंदर भी Peachtree साथ साथ चल रहा है, क्योंकि सेट साहब को tax evasion के बगैर वाला भी एक चाहिए. P&L, ठीक है? तो जब हम वो कर लेंगे ना, और we stop trying to always beat the law and beat the system because we think we are smarter, only then we'll truly harness the power of Gen AI. तब तक हम जुगाड़ू mentality के साथ जुगाड़ें करते रहेंगे. So for me, it's a two. One for him and one for some other company.
I knew it. That's why I came to you at the end. Acha, building on the question the topic that you have just touched. ठीक है, वो तो रहेगा. ये जो देखें beating the system or जो हमारे hidden वाली जो चीज़ें होती हैं वो तो रहेंगी. I think मुझे लगता है 100% तो ख़त्म नहीं होंगी. But if I take your point, then do we think that we don't need to start from anywhere? We cannot start that. I think अगर उसको मैं यहीं लेके आती हूँ, I know ठीक है, बहुत बड़ी हमारी इंडस्ट्री है, and उसमें से सुबह भी बात हो रही थी, शायद 2 या 3% होंगे, उन्होंने 1% कहता, मैं कहती हूँ 2 या 3% होगी, including the local organization जो कि they are far ahead. For example, if we talk about Shan, if we talk about Daraz, if we talk about Nepal or Angro maybe. लेकिन जो larger side पे organizations हैं, from where they can start, I think I would, yes.
So I'm not saying we should not start. I'm saying we should start from nailing the fundamentals. And then, companies like Shan, and I have a lot of respect for the local companies, by the way, because मैं multinationals के साथ भी काम करता हूँ, locals के साथ भी, where we get room to experiment and truly do something original is when we are working with local companies. By the way, he's not my client, so ठीक है, और कोई pitch भी नहीं चल रही अभी. So just let me clarify that. So it's not कि start ना करें, बिल्कुल करें, but fundamentals ठीक कर लें यार. अपने कंपनी लेवल पे डिजिटाइजेशन तो ठीक कर लें. पायरेटेड सॉफ्टवेयर से तो बाहर निकल आए. आप लोग बात कर रहे हैं जेन एआई इंप्लीमेंट करने की. कितने लोग हैं जो भाई जिनके पास विंडोज और ऑफिस जो है अभी तक पायरेटेड चल रहा है, यहीं बैठे हुए होंगे. आई एम नॉट इवन गोना आस्क यू टू शो योर हैंड, ठीक है? बट लेट्स जस्ट अंडरस्टैंड दैट and let that sink in. Okay, we need to get the basics right first, and then we'll always have flag bearers like Shan, Tapal, Young's, for example, very research driven company. I don't know if there's someone sitting here from there. These people will set the stage for you. You'll have success stories from Pakistan. You will. But for the whole industry to come to a level where, for example, recruitment, which was, termed the lowest hanging fruit, I think that's the worst possible point to start with. Okay? And we, perhaps other panelists who are specializing in HR and information for that matter will end up elaborating a little more on that. So yes, we can start. No, we will not have to start from level 3. We have to start from level 1. पहले ground floor बनाएं, उसको strengthen करें, फिर पहली floor खड़ी किएगा उसके ऊपर. जिन्होंने बना ली है, उनको देखें वो कैसे अच्छा कर रहे हैं, उनको देख के आगे बढ़ें. So your responsibility as a company which is doing well is to then publish how you got there.
Yes,
make that information public for others, train others, and that's how we go about it.
Correct. Thank you very much. I think before coming to you, Bilal, बिल्कुल सही कहा आपने. देखिए, discussion, I think these are the forums, those are the, I think, best way to discuss this discussion, and we can definitely learn from the organizations who are taking lead on that, right? So, because you are from also information system or information transformation, so if you can just tell what could be the first, second, third steps before we actually get there.
Okay. So, उमैर की बातें मुझे सुन के थोड़ा किसी एक मिनिस्टर की याद हो गई जो 5 साल का मंसूबा बता रहा था. बट जो है वो है. वी कैन नॉट ब्लेम एवरीथिंग ऑन, विद ड्यू रिस्पेक्ट सर. सो जो है वी हैव टू लिव विद इट. सो एटलीस्ट स्टार्ट वर्किंग टूवर्ड्स इट. एज Shazia asked, So I'll say that I heard in a discussion that recruitment is the easiest to catch up. Well, I'll just share a few stats on recruitment. Harvard Business Review ने एक research की है that is published in January 2023. A recruitment for AI-based recruitment, 88% of the right people were rejected by AI because of multiple reasons, as Saad Saab said, कि उनका medical ज़्यादा था, इनका medical कम था, कुछ वो था, तो it was basically a biasness of AI. The easiest thing to do, I'll tell you, हम लोगों के यहाँ एक बहुत बड़ा concept है, भाई IT वाले जो बैठे हैं, मैं उनको please एक बात कहना चाहता हूँ, आपकी नौकरी आपका vendor नहीं खाता. Software as a service बनी बनाई चीज़ है. Go get it and get it installed and get running with it. आप reinvent करेंगे, 1.5 साल लगाएंगे, एक सॉफ्टवेयर बनाएंगे और जब तक वो बनेगा तब तक वो obsolete हो चुका होगा. So सबसे आसान चीज़ जो आप कर सकते हैं, यहाँ पे HR वाले जो बैठे हैं, प्लीज़ अगर हाथ उठा लें, I can see early there are a lot of people. अच्छा अब नीचे कर लें. दूसरा सवाल ये है कि how many of you do have a self-service portal in HR in your organization? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 people. So I would say the easiest low-hanging fruit is to get a chatbot. आपने जो 2 बंदे रखे हुए हैं जो लोगों को ईमेल्स पे रिस्पॉन्ड करते हैं या फ़ोन उठाते हैं और बताते हैं कि आपकी सर 4 सिक लीव बाकी हैं, आपने 6 एनुअल लीव ले ली हैं, आपका इतना PF जमा हो गया है, आपकी इतनी ग्रेचुटी का लोन है. स्टॉप दैट. एक AI ये सारा सिस्टम से ही बताते हैं. अब वो 1987 नहीं है जैसे बताया गया था कि जी अब सारे सिस्टम पे है. It will integrate seamlessly into your system. एक चैटबॉट है, उसके ऊपर आप आके पूछें, वो ऑटोमेटिकली आपकी ID उठाएगा और उससे आपको बताएगा कि भाई आपकी 5 छुट्टियां बाकी हैं, लेनी है तो अभी ले लो, पता नहीं आगे नौकरी बचेगी कि नहीं. बट स्टिल दैट इज द थिंग. आपका कितना PF बाकी है, कितना, एवरीथिंग कैन बी डन बाय अ चैटबॉट. और वो 2 बंदे जो बैठ के ये काम कर रहे हैं, दे कैन डू सम productive work instead of just contacting people and telling them. So you have to move on. This is the first and easiest. मुश्किल से $1,000-1,500 का खर्चा है और आप सब्सक्रिप्शन मॉडल पे जाएंगे. There is no capex cost, there is no one-time cost. You just pull it and install it. Even local products available हैं यहाँ पे. वो जो NED से आई थी मिस जरदारी, डॉक्टर जरदारी जो थी, वो कह रही थी कि हमें रीडेवलप करने की ज़रूरत है. Humbly, I do not agree. एक बनी हुई चीज़ को दोबारा बना के और उसको फिर मेंटेन करेंगे, फिर सब कुछ करेंगे. सॉफ्टवेयर एज अ सर्विस ऑफर्स यू एवरीथिंग FOC. आप जो उसको सब्सक्रिप्शन दे रहे हैं, जब तक सब्सक्रिप्शन देते रहेंगे तब तक वो ऑटोमेटिकली अपग्रेड भी होगा, उसके सर्वर्स भी चेंज होंगे, उसका सब कुछ होगा, एंड इट विल बी सीमलेस फॉर यू. सो द ईजिएस्ट इज get a chatbot, implement it in your HR system, and make life easy for yourself and your employees as well.
Thank you, Bilal. I think bringing this the same thing to you, Hira, and then Sana, if you can share about from your experiences, so that हम जरा वो वाला point भी देख लेना कि कुछ हो भी सकता है, कहीं से शुरू कर सकते हैं. तो कुछ चीज़ें तो बिलाल ने share की. If you can also share from your experiences, where is you see doable, and from where we can start.
So I'd like to also highlight, one thing that we've very recently implemented, and it's, doing wonders for the organization. It's basically a customized and a very comprehensive mood survey that we've launched. And that's through Butterfly AI. It's a very cheap tool, I would say, but gives amazing information about how your employees are feeling in the organization, what is the mood sentiment of the company. And this, by the way, because I see a lot of hands being raised, most of you are from HR, so you would understand and relate that, conventionally, a lot of organizations would implement the Gallup surveys and, they would go into the taxing Mercer engagement surveys and so on, right? So even from like, sort of from the industry and its pace and, the way the sentiments of the employees are changing. From that perspective, I feel these long due surveys, where you would, call in 5 people from an agency, have them pitch in to your employees, sit everybody down, consume their time, walk them through, a 60-minute long survey, right? Companies are doing away from that. And what we did recently, again, with the launch of this mood survey, we were able to very swiftly implement, a small software, which again, is at the, tweaks and changes of our, sort of hands, where we just make sure that, weekly or maybe on a daily basis, or, if we've done something recent in HR, we've launched like a new policy, how are people feeling about it? So it just gives you a very quick capture and, like a dipstick of your employees' pulse, that what people are thinking about. And then it gives you a lot of insights into, what maybe the people in culture lead can potentially work on. So what it does is it has freed up, a lot of people from my team, and in the operational legwork and in the implementation of going around and having the survey filled up, sitting people down, not wasting their time as well. And we're using those productive hours to now focus more and strategize more on how we can make people happy, right? And this is accompanied and integrated with one of the chatbots that we've implemented using the Slack bot. And what it does is, on a regular basis, let's say if we have any feedback in the mood survey which tells us that, people are not very happy about a certain policy, or they're not clear, or, they're looking forward to maybe systemizing another process, then, we go back to the drawing room with the team and, we take the HR squad there and we sit down with them and we maybe work on something which is more strategic, right? And then turn it around and then again see by launching it how it works. So again, I absolutely resonate with what Umair and Bilal have been trying to highlight here, that every organization has its own journey. A good HR leader or a champion should be sort of sensitive enough to customize everything that's being shared here in this entire conference, very value adding, of course. Customize and then see it with respect to the vision and the foresight of your board members, or maybe the top leadership, and see what works best for you. Again, there's not one size fits all kind of an approach. One has to be very realistic and pragmatic about what should be done first, what is the major priority, right? So prioritizing, reprioritizing the organization's commitments, your business strategy is what a good HR practitioner needs to do every now and then, because that would definitely make the process more rewarding for your stakeholders, right? You would be headed in the right direction, and there's no harm in going back and changing direction, or maybe going back and swiftly changing and adapting to the needs of your business. A lot of HR people think that we're going to carve out a strategy for the next 5 years, 3 years, and we're going to stick to it, and this is how it's going to be. Probably that's the most ideal way, but with the way the economics have changed, with the way the pace of the entire world is changing, HR needs to adapt faster also. Thank you.
Thank you. I think that has been really insightful. And coming to you, Sana, I think if I refer back to all the discussion, if you can also comment in addition to what Hira shared, that what are the experiences, what are the cheap, low cost solutions that you have experienced. And one more thing is for example, if you look at your HR systems, what has been the more impactful tool or thing that you could use during your experiences and that can benefit a lot of people there?
So not only at Meezan, I think when I was working with multinationals and global giants, I think what I loved most about was the partnership. And I worked for 12 years with Mitsubishi. And what I learned working with that group and that nation is sabr, tolerance, and working at your own pace. See, AI is not an overnight show. First, we need to embrace it, take a pause, and accept the reality that this is something and demystify it. Diffuse the color of AI multiple times, slowly, gradually, repetitively in your organization. by embracing it, by talking about it, and being a change agent as a catalyst. Take it to your boardroom, take it to your stakeholders. Our stakeholders are every single person as an HR who is working in our organization, including the peon, including the janitor. आपको ये नहीं पता कि शायद उसको आपके प्रोडक्ट में इंटरेस्ट हो, उसको सब पता है, वो आपको आपसे ज़्यादा जानता है, उसने भी आपके साथ टाइम गुजारा है. तो एक दूसरे को एक्सेप्ट करें एंड स्टार्ट फ्रॉम, एज बिलाल सेड, बेबी स्टेप्स. We have to really understand that whether is it AI that we are ready for, do we have an appetite for that, do we have investment for that, or can we just familiarize ourselves first with data, information gathering, connecting, networking, system orientation, having an ERP, and then moving on with creating chatbots on the ERP. If you don't have a SharePoint, perhaps take one module of SharePoint, make it reservoir of all the policies and data of all the organizational units you have. And when your organizational unit heads are ready, then break the silo. So maybe as a strategy, it's not 6 months game. It's a very long route. But planning, 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 communication, communication, roll out the communication till we start talking about let's go ahead on the route. So I don't say don't jump to the gun, and let's not get fearful of anything. We have to reach there together and partner with your CEO. If he is a financial analyst, talk in his language. Embrace ourselves and develop ourselves into financial lingo. If the next person, my partner, is an IT head, I need to understand his management lifestyle also. तो हमें एक दूसरे का साथ लग के समझना पड़ेगा और पहले इसको diffuse करना होगा. Let's demystify this mythology of AI and let's embrace it all together.
Thank you so much, Anna. I think learning from your discussion, I think we can rightly say that first thing is need to be mindful of something that is coming. Maybe you call it AI or something, but then defining the baby steps. And before that, I think अगर हम सुबह से जो discussion was उसको refer back करें कि हमें ये पता हो कि हमारी इसकी ज़रूरत क्या है. Where do we need to start? Our organization, where we are standing as an organization, where do we need it? And then how we can, put it on the agenda so that the discussion can start. Would you agree with that, or like adding something into it?
Yeah, so matlab, it's very good to see examples of success stories from all over the world, but try and look at them in the context of their socio-cultural fabric, their readiness for technology as a nation and as an organization then as well. So by all means aim high. I'm not in any way here to drag you guys down and say कि नहीं हम तो bottom of the pit में भी कोई basement ढूंढ लेंगे. मैं ये बात नहीं कर रहा हूँ अभी. लेकिन realization इस बात की कि यार किस step के बाद आपको ये implement करना है और कौन से step skip करके आप वो सारी massive ERP costs avoid कर सकते हैं by integrating these 4 tools. So there your ability to, the better you understand your business and the challenges it faces, the better you're going to be able to create a solution for yourself. So maybe you don't have to go a mile and a half ahead like the rest of the world. Maybe you can take a U-turn right now because AI has enabled a different level of solution. So yes, be aware, read up as much as you can, and not necessarily limited to your function or role. Okay? You're the CEO of your life.
Not the organization.
Not just the organization, or not just a particular function in an organization. You're CEO of your life, and your life is going to get affected by everyone around you. So open the horizon of your ability to learn both within your own function and beyond. And be open. Let's bring back that learning ability. जो हम भूल गए हैं, we thinking के chat GPT सब कर देगा, face first गिरेंगे आप लोग सारे और हम भी गिरेंगे. So forget about what easiness it adds in your life. Think about how it can enrich your life as an individual. How you can come out better, more learned than you were before you entered that room. Okay? And that's the way. To each their own. आपका अपना journey है, आपकी organization का अपना journey है. लगे रहें, सीखते रहें.
Thank you. I think Bilal would like to add something.
So, on a
यार
lighter
एक
note,
कमेंट वो ना ज़रूर कीजिएगा जब मैंने वो सवाल आपसे करना है कि आपने दूसरे फंक्शंस हैं जो उन्होंने स्टेक होल्डर्स की बात की ना, डेफिनेटली यू वुड हैव टेकन HR ऑन बोर्ड और मैनी अदर फंक्शंस. तो आपके पॉइंट के साथ वो भी कीजिएगा कैसे करेंगे.
I'll answer that first and then ask HR. कि आप क्या करना चाहते हैं इस साल. Ask supply chain, ask finance, ask procurement, ask every single department that what kind of projects or digitization projects that you want to do or to start off with. At least जब सबकी ownership होगी और आप at HR level I would say that HR should like जैसे आपके annual objectives में safety के objectives होते हैं, quality के objectives होते हैं, top line के objectives होते हैं, इसी तरह ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन ऑब्जेक्टिव्स को हिस्सा बनाएं अपने एनुअल अप्रेजल का. Just assign 2% to it, assign 5% to it. But start with 5% across the board, at least for Mancom, at least for line managers, who can identify the areas कि मेरे ये 10 बंदे सिर्फ सुबह से लेके शाम तक invoice process करते रहते हैं, इसकी कोई automation करते हैं. So imagine those 10 people will have more productive job. अब यहाँ पे सवाल दूसरा आता है कि जी वो 10 लोग अगर हम उनका काम फारिग कर देंगे, 9 लोग जो हैं वो फारिग हो जाएंगे, एक बंदा ही सिर्फ उसको मॉनिटर कर रहा होगा. So I'll just give you an example of Amazon. Last year, Amazon fired 8,000 people through a chatbot. Early morning, they received a call from a robot telling them that you are fired and you don't need to come to office, and whatever the context was, they went to court. And now in US, there's a law which says that without human interaction, nobody can be fired. So you cannot fire somebody on email, you cannot fire somebody through a chatbot, you cannot fire until you meet. So देखिए पॉजिटिविटी भी है और नेगेटिविटी भी है, दोनों चीज़ें हैं. इंटरनेट पे सब कुछ मिलता है, काम का भी मिलता है और बेकार भी मिलता है. So it's your thing that you try.
So this is just food for thought that I wanted to give you कि आप ये सोचें कि हम बड़े-बड़े loves, बड़े-बड़े jargons use करते हैं, but at the end of the day we have to look at the ground reality as well. So
नहीं, थैंक यू वेरी मच. आई थिंक एचआर की बार बार जब बात होती है, सुबह से भी डिस्कशन हो रहा था. यू आर राइट. आई थिंक बिलाल, वो होता क्या है कि लोग पीपल लुक अप टू एचआर बिकॉज जब कोविड भी आया था तो सबका सबसे पहले ध्यान ये था कि हमारे लिए कौन सी पॉलिसी ऐसी आएगी, बिकॉज दैट इज ड्रिवन बाय देम और दैट इज कम्युनिकेटेड बाय देम. तो लोग यही देख रहे होते हैं. आई थिंक एचआर एक जगह है जहाँ पर एचआर, आई बिलीव इफ यू वुड अग्री, कैन टेक द लीड कि एटलीस्ट ब्रिंग दिस थिंग ऑन द एजेंडा. और जब आपने ऑब्जेक्टिव्स की बात की है ना, बिकॉज सुबह भी बात हुई थी कि बहुत सारी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में ऑब्जेक्टिव्स पता नहीं बनते हैं कि नहीं बनते या वट एवर. आई थिंक हम ये ज़रूर कर सकते हैं कि जो जितने स्टेक होल्डर्स हैं, लाइक फ्रॉम ऑल द फंक्शंस, कैन सिट टुगेदर एंड एटलीस्ट जो भी पहला बेबी स्टेप है उसके बारे में बात कर सकते हैं कि वेयर वी कैन स्टार्ट, वेयर एज एन ऑर्गेनाइजेशन वी वांट टू मूव, एंड देन वी कैन प्रोसीड, राइट. एंड आई थिंक कोई अगर सवाल है तो पहले कर लेते हैं. यस, देयर इज अ क्वेश्चन.
Assalamu alaikum. Zishan from Thal Limited, House of Habib. Before putting up an actual question, I would like to second whatever Umair Saeed Sahab has said. It is a game of willingness versus the preparedness. यानी कि जब तक हम willingness तो शो कर रहे हैं कि भाई दुनिया में ये चीज़ चल रही है, और अगर हमारी preparedness ही नहीं है बहुत ही बेसिक लेवल पे भी, तो हम AI की बात कर लें या किसी भी emerging टेक्नोलॉजी की बात कर लें, उससे हमें कोई फ़ायदा नहीं होने वाला जब तक हम prepared ना हों. अच्छा, सेकेंडली एक और पैनलिस्ट ने भी और सना मेसिया साहिबा ने भी एक चीज़ कही कि AI इज़ नॉट हेयर टू टेक अप एनीवन्स जॉब. ये पहले भी बातें कही जाती थी कि जिस तरह मशीनरीज और रोबोटिक्स आनी शुरू हुई तो जहाँ 10 लोगों का काम होता था वो एक रोबोट कर लेता तो 10 लोग बाहर हो जाते थे. AI का भी उसी तरह से है, जिस तरह चैट GPT की बहुत ज़्यादा बात होती है. तो आप कंटेंट राइटिंग की बात कर लें, आप किसी भी यानी कि चीज़ की बात कर लें जो चैट GPT प्रोवाइड कर रहा है, उसकी जॉब एट स्टेक हो गई है. तो जिस तरह से हम बात कर रहे हैं AI की इम्प्लीमेंटेशन की और उसकी मार्केट की, सब चीज़ों की, तो ये कहीं ना कहीं ख़तरे की बातें हैं कि ये जॉब्स टेकअप होंगी. किस तरह से होंगी? एक जुमला मैंने पढ़ा था जो कि साथ कालिया साहब ने लिखा था कि इट इज़ नॉट अबाउट AI विच इज़ टेकिंग द जॉब. AI अपनी जगह पे मौजूद है, वो लोग सिर्फ रहेंगे जो AI को यूज़ कर रहे होंगे, तो जो नहीं यूज़ कर पा रहे होंगे दे आर आउट. मतलब दैट्स व्हाट आई थिंक. अच्छा, माय एक्चुअल क्वेश्चन इज़ कि if you're talking about AI, how would HR combat or accept whatever AI is going to provide them? For example, चाहे रिक्रूटमेंट है, चाहे कंपनसेशन एंड बेनिफिट्स है, या वो कोई भी चीज़ें जो AI हमें प्रोवाइड कर रहा है HR को कि ये चीज़ इस तरह से होनी चाहिए. What would the decision be of the HR ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ एआई, क्योंकि अगर एआई रेकमेंड कुछ और कर रहा है कि भाई ये बंदा सुटेबल आपकी जॉब के लिए, या बेस्ड ऑन मार्केट रिसर्च एआई कहती है कि आपके ये बंदों की जो जॉब्स हैं उनकी सैलरीज बहुत कम है, आपको इतने % पे लेके जानी चाहिए, एआई और भी बहुत सारी चीज़ आप एचआर को सजेस्ट करेगा। तो असल चीज़ ये है कि चीज़ तो आपको मिल गई, एचआर उन पे डिसीजंस क्या लेगा, ये एक्चुअल क्वेश्चन है मेरा।
I think thank you, बहुत important सवाल था, and that stimulated my mind to answer one more thing कि how to bridge this gap। देखिए जो ये जो अवेयरनेस की बात बिलाल ने भी और उमैर ने भी कही ना, एकेडेमिया और कॉर्पोरेट का जो डिस्कनेक्ट है ना, उसको लिंकेज करने की बहुत ज़्यादा ज़रूरत है। आपके पास अब जनरेशन मिलेनियल नहीं रह गई जो मैं और आप हैं, हमारे पास आ रहे हैं अल्फाज, उनको नहीं रुकना 10 साल, उनको नहीं रुकना 2 साल, तो हमें अपना टर्नओवर रेशियो भी रीडिफाइन करना होगा, हमें अपने टैट्स भी डिफाइन करने होंगे, और हमें वो मॉड्यूल्स लाने की ज़रूरत है, हमें यूनिवर्सिटीज़ में वो आगे ही प्रोवाइड करवाने की ज़रूरत है एज कॉर्पोरेट्स के कल के जो बच्चे हैं वो इस चीज़ से बिल्ट इन हों, वो इस अवेयरनेस के साथ बॉन्ड होंगे, तो ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में देखें मकाफात अमल है ना और इकॉनमी है, एनवायरनमेंट सस्टेनेबिलिटी गवर्नेंस कैसे आएगी, नौकरियां क्रिएट होंगी और मज़ीद क्रिएट होंगी, दिस इज़ द लॉ ऑफ नेचर कि इकोनॉमिकल साइकिल तो ऐसे ही चलेगी कि आपको भी बिजनेस चाहिए और मैं आपके ख़रीदार हूँ और डिमांड और सप्लाई चलेगा, तो बिजनेस अगर बंद होंगे तो बहुत नए क्रिएट भी होंगे, अगर हम जॉब से रिटायर होंगे तो हमारे बच्चों को जॉब्स ही मिलेंगी, वो कौन होंगे, वो अल्फाज होंगे, उनको नोकिया 3310 नहीं चाहिए है, उनको STN नहीं चाहिए है, उनको सैटेलाइट चाहिए है, या उनको कोई और चीज़ चाहिए, तो इसको हम किस तरह करेंगे। देखें अशरफुल मखलूक़ात हमें अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह अल्लाह ताला सुब्हानो ताला ने बनाया है, द पावर इज़ कम्युनिकेशन, द की इज़ कम्युनिकेशन, डिसीजन मेकिंग डेटा ड्रिवन फैक्ट्स आपके पास आएंगे, वो मैंने आपने उस बोर्ड ने ही बैठ के उस पर डिसीजन लेना है, और डिसीजन तब हमारे लिए आसान होगा जब वो हमारे लिए हमारा काम आसान करेगा, तो हमारी जॉब्स क्यों रहेंगी, बिकॉज शायद कोडिंग भी हम कर रहे होंगे, फीडिंग भी हम कर रहे होंगे, लेकिन मुझे ये लगता है कि ताहयात दुनिया में पानी भी रहेगा, हमारा वजूद भी रहेगा, और हमारी इंटेलिजेंस उस इंटेलिजेंस के साथ मिलके काम कर रही होगी, डिसीजंस हमें ही लेने हैं।
Thank you. I think Hira, if you would like, yeah, or
Yeah, sure. So I would just like to very quickly address your question, which said that, if AI gives a lot of, outputs or, maybe recommendations to HR, especially on hiring or maybe on other, areas wherever it's being used, I think that's going to be a disaster if you just go ahead and you consider, whatever AI is recommending to the extent looking at, maybe compensation comparisons, looking at the gaps. I go back to, again, what we've been trying to emphasize as a panel, that you need to take baby steps, start standardizing and, putting a methodology to all your HR processes also. Once, there's a certain threshold that, every policy, every system is benchmarked, maybe, to a certain standard, then, you can take the, next steps and, implement tools like AI to suggest you, because again, it's going to give you garbage in, garbage out, right? If you're just asking AI to give you outputs and you're not willing to invest your own sort of effort and, maybe doing a due diligence on that, it doesn't work out like that. And I don't think so. Any sensible HR, maybe, an HR with a lot of functional depth would ever, take an approach like that, that just feed into AI and then sit back and say that, this is the candidate. Because even, by the way, those tools which we've been using, for example, we use PI, which is a predictive index. It's not AI, by the way, because we're terming everything that we're saying today, it's AI and, this is AI. It's not AI. It just gives you assessments, right, based on certain cognitive abilities of the candidate, and it helps you compare. And that comparison, again, is like also quite subjective, so you have to read through, match it to your role, see what the nuances of your organization are, and then, come to a good fit between the candidate and what maybe the assessment is reading out for you. So, all that has to be done by somebody, I believe, who has like human intellect, can't be done by a machine. And, that's how you maybe, do the due diligence, carry on, and then, leave only, strategic reliance on humans and, the machine process output, on AI.
Thank you, Hira, and thank you, Sana. I think वो the thing, Bilal, already you touched point that thing कि हम ये वो जो बात हुई थी कि recruitment से we can start. I think that's not the right approach, as in my humble opinion as well, and as well as Bilal said, कि ये चीज़ नहीं है. दूसरी बात ये कि जो आपने कहा ना कि जो एक बहुत ज़्यादा कॉन्सेप्ट सबके जहन में आता है कि जो AI जो है ना सबकी जॉब्स लेके चला जाएगा, जो कि बहुत बार ये चीज़ हमारे आई थिंक AI के साथ जो दूसरी चीज़ दिमाग में आती है वही आती है. The point that Sana shared, I think I would also conclude on that. How I see it, I was having a discussion with my brother a day ago, and we were also discussing the same thing. कि सारी जॉब चली जाएंगी तो क्या होगा? And I could like I processed it a lot, and then what I came to this conclusion कि जॉब्स जाएंगी नहीं, जॉब्स कन्वर्ट हो जाएंगी. ठीक है, कन्वर्ट होंगी. हमें आई थिंक डिस्कशन करना चाहिए और HR में भी करना चाहिए. द जॉब्स वुड कन्वर्ट. आप और दूसरा पॉइंट इसमें देखें ये है कि ना जो ह्यूमंस को नहीं चाहिए. द पॉइंट दैट सना सेड, और आई थिंक दोस वर द सेम वर्ड्स आई यूज्ड टू से, कि देखें अल्लाह ताला ने दुनिया बनाई है, उसमें इंसान को ही लाइक इंसान इज़ द वन जिसके लिए मुसाखर किया है सारा कुछ. ठीक है, जो भी दुनिया में दूसरी पावर्स हैं वो सब फिजिकली हमसे ज़्यादा स्ट्रांग है. आप समंदर को देख लें, आप हवा देख लें. हम जहाज़ किसने बनाया? इंसान ने बनाया. देन ही इज़ लाइक यू नो पायलटिंग दैट. लाइकवाइज आप समंदर पे सफ़र करते हैं. दुनिया में जितनी भी पावर्स हैं वो हमसे वैसे ज़्यादा है, लेकिन इंसान को अल्लाह ताला ने इसलिए डिफरेंट बनाया है, अशरफुल मखलूक़ात बनाया, दैट वी विल बी द वंस हु विल बी लीडिंग इट. द ओनली थिंग दैट कितना ज़्यादा हम उसको होल्ड कर सकते हैं, द पावर, द लैंग्वेज वी नीड टू लर्न. पहले घोड़ों के ऊपर जंग हुआ करती थी, नेज़ाबाजी होती थी. बाद में क्या हुआ, चलते थे, अब कितनी मॉडर्न वेपन्स आ चुके हैं. तो लाइक द वर्ल्ड हैज़ बीन इवॉल्विंग लाइक दैट. तो हमें वो फियर कभी दिमाग में रखना ही नहीं चाहिए. वी आर द वंस हु विल बी लीडिंग इट. If Umair also agrees with it, but the thing is, the only thing is कि वो जो रीस्किल करना है, अपस्किल करना है, हमें जितना जल्दी हम क्विकली होल्ड कर लेंगे इन चीज़ों को, हम इसको भी वैसे चलाएंगे जैसे हम बाकी चीज़ों को चला रहे होते हैं. If you agree with that, तो I think
Thank you, Shazia, for concluding that very aptly. So
Thank
I'd
you
like
very
to
much.
invite Usher Saeed to hand over a token from Dollar to the panelists.